Postseason Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.
There it is. What a comeback. 6-5 Cubs. They take the series 3-1. And the magic number drops again. The Cubs now just 8 wins away from winning the World Series. They are closing in one big step closer as they move on to the NLCS for the second straight season. Hello and welcome to Cubs Postseason Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield alongside Todd Hollinsworth. I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. You ready?
Let's do it. Boom.
Boom. Blow it up. Get it out of the way. I didn't think we were going to need these tonight.
Hey, listen, I wiped off the dust in the ninth inning. I thought, okay, we'll get these bad boys out there.
I thought we might want to pick them up. What a comeback. The Cubs out there on the field celebrating 4 runs in the ninth inning, and this team all season long just does not quit, including the loss last night when it looked very bleak and Bryant hits it, home run, ties it back up. Same thing again tonight. It looks bleak, but you can't count them out.
Well, and again, how many times we've talked about, their ability to come back in a ball game. This is a very talented group. At the same time, I know everybody was getting a little worked up over the lack of offense in this series. This is a resilient bunch. They fight. They don't worry about what we think. They don't worry about the outside noise or what's being said. They certainly don't worry about jinxes or hoaxes or goats or anything else, or black cats for that matter. They worry about winning baseball games. And what you watched again tonight was, a guy, Matt Moore, absolutely dominant tonight. Mixed his pitches incredibly well, but they found the weakness. We talked about this all series long. It's certainly one that we all knew was there, that giant bullpen. And once the crack was made, they just absolutely drove a fork into it and said, you know what, we're going to blow this whole thing up right here. Man after man after man. A night after our own bullpen had its own issues, the Giants bullpen completely implodes, and the Cubs put together great at bats. I mean, you watch how the ninth inning develops. Good at bat after good at bat, got the ball up, got the ball in the zone, and put good swings, used the middle of the field, and made this happen. I am in no way surprised that this happened.
Here's David Ross with Kelly Kroll at AT&T Park.
NLDS tonight or what?
No, that's a good team. Man, I mean, Laggy didn't throw that bad. They just were on everything he threw, and credit to these guys. Just kept fighting, kept battling. That's a good team over there. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm exhausted. The emotions are running crazy. What a great group of guys, and we're excited to be moving on.
Take us through the emotions inside that dugout as the ninth inning started to unfold there, and you'd seen it so many times from this group.
You guys have seen it. I mean, just go get that leadoff guy on. KB, great at bat. Riz, they're matching up the whole way. Tough lefty, got the 3-2, spin on a tough pitch. Zoe worked the count in his favor, double down the line, and then the guys had the energy and just kept going. Can't say enough about Wilson Contreras. This guy sat on the bench for 2 days, got a little bit yesterday, and just kept grinding, kept going, stayed in the game, and huge hit for him and Javi. The young group around here amazes me every day.
I know John Lackey would have loved to have done a little bit better, but to do what he did and then to watch his bullpen come in and get this game done, how big was that for him and just the rest of this team?
Well, you guys have seen it all year. We're a complete team. I feel like it's not every year, every night, somebody picking somebody else out, a different hero every night. Again tonight, Wilson Contreras, these guys at bats. Lack threw the ball great, but the bullpen did a phenomenal job, and then you got Chappie at the back end just bringing the heat, so it was fun to catch.
I was going to say, not too bad for you either tonight.
Yeah, I got a homer. How about that? Blind squirrel theory.
Always wait till the end to get that in.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Kelly.
Hey, go celebrate.
David Ross was missing out on the team photo for that interview.
About the timing of that.
Yeah, so
it's certainly very
he's going to run in and get on that fun as the Cubs are celebrating. Headed back to the NLCS, second straight season. That was a streak of 10 straight elimination games that the Giants had fought off. The only other 2 professional sports franchises with streaks that long winning when their back was against the wall. The Patriots from 02 to 06, they won 10 in a row elimination games, and the Celtics, the Boston Celtics, 59 to 67, won 11 straight. So the Cubs knew it wasn't going to be easy, knew the Giants wouldn't go down easy, and it took 4 runs in the 9th inning after they had just 2 hits all game.
Well, but that was the deficit. And again, we've talked about how resilient the group is. I mean, we've seen them all season long. They string hits together. They feed off each other. And that's the one thing that really stands out for me in that 9th inning. We've said it many times. As we've watched many of these hitters struggle together, they put together that 9th inning together. Good at bat after good at bat, able to get the 4th spot there in the 9th inning and get this thing delivered into Chapman's hands. He goes back out there. You saw 102 repeatedly. You saw how hard that is to square up. And again, the end result being another trip to the championship series of the National League. Congratulations to the Chicago Cubs. They've earned it. I mean, they were the better team in this series. The Giants were having moments. They were using the one way that they could probably get at the Cubs and maybe beat them. They're starting pitching and some timely hitting, and I think that's what it came down to, is the Cubs just kind of held out.
Let's go out to AT&T Park. Joe Maddon.
It was all hands on deck there at the end. 2 big hits. Contreras and Baez, their combined age, I don't think it's 45. Pretty good stuff.
You had him right where you wanted him in the 9th.
Oh, listen, Matty Moore, who I've known for a while, is outstanding. Might be the best game I've ever seen him pitch. I've seen him pitch a lot. You see that group and how they respond to pressure situations. And talking about the Giants, they're fabulous. So that makes it even better to have that opportunity to beat them under these circumstances here, because I respect them that much.
I know you say you're lucky to be part of this, but don't you think you foster a lot of this attitude and this whole celebratory thing while you're working?
Well, I try to be myself, and if that rubs off, that's a good thing. I think it's something I've always kind of been this way ever since I was a kid, and it's just I have a chance to be a manager now.
Man, go get him.
All right, man.
I've never seen a comeback like this in a high-pressure situation.
Joe Maddon, after a 6-5 win, this was the 8th time this season the Cubs rallied in the 9th inning or later to come back and win a game. That's what we were talking about at the beginning of the show, the never-give-up kind of attitude this team has.
Well, and that's who they are. I knew this postseason they were going to get tested. I think Cubs fans, you need to realize that winning a postseason series, winning a World Series, your team is going to get tested. This was a great test for the Chicago Cubs. They were resilient. They weren't hitting. They knew they weren't hitting. They don't need all of us reminding them that they can't get it done. But the reality is you find ways to win tough ball games sometimes, and their best at-bats were a collection there in the 9th inning that got them the 4 runs they needed to pull this thing out. Many people were like, oh, well, we got the Game 5. Who's the starters? I mean, you even listened during the broadcast. They started talking about it, even setting it up, the idea that this was all said and done. And we've watched this team time and time again. Remember that moment? There was one moment I remember Joe Maddon said about mid-July, maybe late July, early August. And he kind of started talking about what the Cubs needed to do a little bit better job of. And he said that there weren't those late inning comeback wins that we had last year that helped define a team. And lo and behold, they start piling them up, right? I mean, part of it is, the offense was not nearly as good as it was in the second half as it was in the first half. But the pitching's been outstanding all season long. But when you start to get comfortable in the 8th and 9th inning, and whether it's your bullpen or your guys who are coming up to the plate, and you saw that in the 9th inning, how comfortable did those bats look? You saw Contreras' eyes as he got into the box and that opportunity to go up against Smith. I mean, you could almost feel that he was going to come through in that moment. They felt it, they played off each other, and they put together an incredible inning right there. You're not going to play a perfect run to the World Series. I can guarantee it. If this series doesn't prove it to Cubs fans, take a chill pill. You've still got one of the best teams in baseball. Let these guys, kind of figure it out. Here's the blessing in disguise, is that you've got this great pitching, and that to me is what has kind of covered, some of the issues that you've had offensively or in the lineup. And it's never a simple run.
Celebration has spilled over from part of the field is still celebrating. The Cubs have also gone into the clubhouse, breaking out the champagne for this one. They talked about, hey, going into this, they knew adversity would come.
Right.
They knew they would have to face it. I think it's interesting when you look at the guys that came through in this big comeback win. David Ross, the oldest guy on the team, Javi Baez and Contreras, the 2 youngest guys on the team, together the old and the young, that's what makes this team different as well, as it's not just a bunch of old veteran players on a team either.
But again, think of the personality of the individuals that you're talking about. I know that age separates them an awful lot, but when you think of what their personality is, they're no different. I mean, they're hungry baseball players. They understand that this game is about being resilient. It's also about recovering from the bad. There's going to be bad moments and bad strikeouts and bad plays and things that don't go your way. But in this game, you learn to look forward and stay focused forward and find out and embrace the next moment that comes your way. This game is very forgiving. It will continue to give you opportunities to win, but the key is staying with it. If you quit on yourself, then you're done. If you stay positive, much like we give the Giants all this credit for doing it year after year after year, right? All these elimination wins, that's how they would define themselves. What this Cubs team is trying to do right now, and what they certainly did tonight, is prove to us once again how resilient they are. This is a good, close-knit group of guys who like to play well together. They didn't play their best baseball in San Francisco, but they played their best inning right here at the end, and it was good enough to get the series.
Cubs fans flying the W out there at Wrigley Field. Again, the Cubs players going in for the celebration. We're going to be here for quite some time trying to get interviews for you. Kelly Kroll is out there at AT&T Park. She'll have interviews for us. Cubs come back, 4 runs in the 9th inning. Game 1 of the NLCS will be on Saturday. This is also a great reminder for Cubs fans who are watching and starting to panic. No question, if you were on Twitter or any of the social medias, the panic was starting to set in all over town.
I know.
And it almost started with the goat head, I think, is when the
well, there was one there in San Francisco.
The fan shows the goat head, and it started to panic. But this team doesn't quit, and this is a different team, so enjoy the ride because they're never out of a game.
Well, and that's what this moment means. Yes, they get to celebrate getting to the championship series, but when you look at your team and you look at yourselves and you look in the mirror and you say, okay, you know what, we came back, we battled back, we just did something that had never happened before. Coming back from a 3-run deficit, a 4-run 9th inning under these circumstances to clinch, that hasn't happened in our sport before. I mean, these are history-making moments. But you start to buy into that identity, and that's the one thing that you're going to carry into the championship series. Whether it's the Dodgers, whether it's the Nats, it really doesn't matter. You learn that it's not so much about who you're playing, it's about who you are as a team and what you can and will do to win. And that's what it came down to.
The Wrigleyville bars have opened up a little bit because the fans are heading to the marquee at Wrigley Field and celebrating there, as well as the Cubs back to the NLCS, 2nd straight year. Getting ready to celebrate and waiting for Saturday's Game 1, which, of course, will be at Wrigley Field against either the Dodgers or the Nationals. We'll see who it's going to be. They looked orderly fashion.
Why weren't they out there in the 8th inning? They weren't out there in the 8th inning, honestly.
Well, we didn't have that shot in the 8th inning because we weren't ready for it either.
There was no shot to get in the 8th inning.
Nobody was ready for that shot at that point. Again, Kelly Kroll's working on some interviews. We're going to have Joe Maddon, more from Joe Maddon coming up. We'll probably hear from the Giants as well, who put up a pretty good battle in this series. The Cubs didn't have all the offense that we thought they might have. Game 1, what did they have? 3 hits. Yeah. One of them was a home run. Today they had 2 hits going into that 9th inning. But you saw the adversity that we've talked about, and some of it's Anthony Rizzo. Here's a guy who was 0 for 13 coming into this. He got a walk. That got him rolling tonight. Then he got a hit. And then he took another walk in what turned out to be a big point in the game, 9th inning. He gets on base, and he keeps it rolling. Well, he held off the curveball on the 3-2.
Yeah, that's right, against Lopez. And, I mean, these are the moments that you build off of. He knows he's struggling. He doesn't need to be reminded. How many times did he get asked that question last night? Goodness gracious, 100, 150 times. Why are you struggling, Anthony? Here's your answer. I'd fix it right now. I'd much rather be 6 for 13 than 0 for 13, and we'd like to fix that right now. Well, you kind of wrestle with yourself through these things, and he put together quality at-bats tonight. You learn about yourself. I will say this. This is a very interesting dynamic when it comes to playoff baseball. We've watched this team now 2 years in a row play, and we talk about what experience does for you. It certainly lowers the heart rate. Now, Anthony's done this now 2 seasons in a row, and let's hope he feeds off of this game, and it transitions into the NLCS, right? As this goes on, you're going to feel more and more comfortable. They're going to stand out, on Saturday night at Wrigley Field and get ready to do this again. The more you do this, the more comfortable you come in these situations, the more likely you are to take care of business and not overreact to the hype and the excitement that centers around these things. That's the advantage that you get. It doesn't guarantee results, but it certainly puts you as a player in a better position. By the third time I went to the playoffs, Luke, I was in such a better place than the first time. First time I was a nervous wreck, trying not to be the one that was going to screw it up or not come through in the right situations. Like, you're processing this all out. And I think that Anthony absolutely has felt this postseason as the elder statesman on the team, as the spokesman, as the best offensive player, call him what you will, the leader, face of the franchise. I know Chris Bryant or wherever you want to go with it, but he was feeling that responsibility. That's how you explain him expanding his strike zone the way that he was. That's not actually Anthony Rizzo. That's Anthony Rizzo trying to hit. And once he realized that, you know what, I got to take my walks, they're not pitching to me, and I'm just going to prepare myself for when the time comes that they do decide it's my turn to hit, I'll be ready for it.
3-1, 3-2 was a mental battle for him.
Sure it was.
Certainly in this ninth inning. Now, we talk about mental approach. Willson Contreras is a guy who was in the Arizona Fall League last year, visualizing himself in these types of situations. Here's a young kid, comes through. He'd been on the bench. He comes off the bench, biggest stage of his career, and he comes through right back up the middle and ties the game.
I love players like Willson Contreras. The passion that he has brought to this team since the day he has arrived. I didn't need to see much more of his catching. I mean, I knew this kid was a big leaguer. You know that this kid is hungry enough that he's going to keep himself in the big leagues and he's going to succeed. Nothing's going to get in his way. You see it in Javi Baez. These things are easy to read and easy to identify in the young talent that they've got on this team. These guys are going to be together for a long time. That at bat right there, think it through. The first curveball he gets, takes a mighty hack swinging through it, trying to kind of come up with that big swing. And what was the hit that, it was the 16 hopper that he shortened up his swing on the exact same breaking ball. There it is, almost jammed himself, but kept his hands inside the ball. And what part of the field did he use, Luke?
Right back up the middle.
That's right. You went right back up the middle. That's what you want to do at this ballpark. Shorten up. Don't try to do too much. We talked about this in the pregame show today. These are playoff games. Pitchers are trying not to make mistakes.
Oh, that was you that said that.
Yeah, well, hey,
okay,
man, I'm going to take a little credit here, but this is what you want to do. You don't want to get too crazy. Shorten up, find the barrel, use the middle of the field.
Speaking of Willson Contreras, he is out there talking to Ken Rosenthal from Fox Sports. Let's listen in.
I was trying to have a good at bat. I didn't try to do too much. I just was going to get my pitch to hit. I swung the first one, and I didn't realize that we was coming back with a curveball. Doing my normal swing. Thanks God that I hit a base to tie the game.
All right, now during that inning, when did you start to think, okay, we're going to get this?
I mean, I was positive of the whole game. I was waiting for my opportunity. I was sit down, relax. I was trying to wake up the team. But like I said before, we never quit. We play the 27th now. That's what we did today. That's why we are successful.
What was it like on the bench when you guys got the lead?
Oh my God, we get crazy because we wanted to win this match so bad. Now we got to keep on to the next series.
Last question, Javi, what do you say?
Amazing, amazing. Everybody loves Javi.
Everybody loves Javi, especially Cubs fans. If anybody has burst onto the national scene so far in these playoffs, well, other than Conor Gillaspie at some point, Javier Baez has been spectacular. In the field tonight, he was amazing, and of course, he comes through again with the bat tonight.
Yeah, you feel a little selfish like he's ours, and now everybody's kind of getting a little, like almost like you don't want to share him with the world. Listen, we've watched him for a long time. We know how talented he is. You've asked me, we've talked about this multiple times. Is this a kid that you build around? When we saw him originally, when he first came up, and he was...
Well, he was an automatic strikeout for a while.
A lot of the times he was
big.
Right. I remember, we were talking strikeouts, and you watch how much he's grown and how much he's improved. I love the smile that he plays with, and I'll tell you what, part of it, this might sound weird, but I do believe that he has a humbling respect for the game of baseball. I know it sometimes we might misread it, like we see arrogance, like you look right there in the hand signs and waiting out home runs. But when you watch him play this game, it's all about his passion, and he loves what he does.
Kelly Kroll with Jed Hoyer.
We didn't get much going offensively, but the ninth inning was a lot about character. These guys never give up, and that was as exciting a ninth inning as I've ever been a part of.
There's so many guys we could bring up throughout this game, but Willson Contreras, considering he's a rookie in terms of being in the postseason, and he comes up with that hit tonight to be now celebrating here.
Yeah, I mean, and both Wilson and Javi, staying up the middle, not trying to do too much, and taking their single up the middle. Great at bats by young kids.
What do you think when you look around this clubhouse and see guys celebrating and knowing you're doing it on the San Francisco Giants field in their clubhouse?
Yeah, we said these guys are hard to beat. They're hard to eliminate, and I guess it took a crazy rally like that to do it. It feels great. They played so well against us. That feels good. They played so well against us. It was a great series. 3 one-run games, and obviously I'm glad we came out on top and in 3 of the 4.
When you look at pitchers, do you also look and see if they can rake as well at the plate? Is that part of the plan?
It might as well have been. Those guys picked us up huge. Obviously Jake yesterday and Woody and Kyle. Today we had no pitcher help, so we were able to get by anyway.
But David Ross helped you out.
Exactly. Yeah, Rossi was huge, and don't discredit Rossi as far as working with the pitchers all night. We did a pretty good job keeping them at 5 runs. I thought that they had great at bats all night. They had a lot of hits, and a lot of base runners. And I think Rossi's leadership in our bullpen kept them at 5 runs, which allowed the comeback.
Chet, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Kelly Kroll with General Manager Jed Hoyer, as he mentioned, 3 one-run games. That margin of error is so tiny, especially in a short playoff series.
Well, and you think back to even then in that 9th inning, the Brandon Crawford error, what ends up deciding so many of these ball games, it's the smallest of things. And I've said it for many, many times. Like, bigly, you look at a season and, you've got certain number of good hitters on your team and you're a good defensive team and you've got good starting pitching. And then you start to look at the intangibles, the little things that matter. The Giants did a lot of little things in this ball game to get the lead. At the end, the Cubs did the most little things to get the win, where the Giants did not.
Chris Bryant out at AT&T Park with his ski goggles on.
We love playing in front of our fans, but it's nice to get it done here and kind of regroup and find out who we're playing next.
You guys party and celebrate after every win. How is this different for you right now?
Just a little more enthusiasm. I feel like this is after every win. There's Gatorade, water flying everywhere. This time it's champagne. We're all getting wet regardless.
The way yesterday went, the way today was going, knowing you guys had a game 5, it would have been easy for you guys to just say, hey, we'll take it back home and try to do it there. What clicked? Why didn't you guys just pack it in?
It's just in our identity. That's who we are. We want to win every game we play. We don't care if it's on the road or at home. It's just who we are, honestly.
Chris, a lot of you guys were around for this last year in the postseason, but some of them weren't. How about the job that some of the young guys like Wilson and CJ and Monty all did in this series and stepping up?
Looking at yesterday, Mike pitched unbelievable. CJ's been doing it all year, and Javi to come up huge there, and Wilson to come off the bench of a tough lefty. It's just everybody contributing every day.
You let off that 9th inning, and then you saw, of course, Rizzo come up and get the walk. Did it start to feel like we have done this so many times, we can do it right now?
Yeah, exactly. That's the feeling I felt. I'm leading off the inning. I just told myself, get on base, and anything can happen. The rest is history.
You started out the rally in the 9th inning when you guys were down and it seemed like you guys were out of it. What was the mentality for you guys to think that no deficit was too big?
Just keep playing. All it takes is one pitch, and you saw the last inning there. Guys had great at bats, just battling, working walks, getting some hits. So that's just something we preach. It just takes one pitch at a time, and that last inning was, perfect.
You guys never felt like you were out of it, did you?
Wait, what?
You never felt like you were out of it, did you?
No, obviously the momentum was kind of on their side the whole game. They did a heck of a job. Their guys were swinging it well. Their pitchers were doing everything, but that last inning, it's just going back to last year. That's just kind of what we do. It's nice, knowing that there's 27 outs in a game, and you got to get them all. And tonight, we're on the winning side of it.
Speaking of last year, is it unfinished business now, heading to the NLCS again for the 2nd straight year?
Sure. We're excited excited for it. A lot of us have that sour taste in our mouth from last year, so we'll be ready for it, and I certainly can't wait.
This was the Giants.
Chris Bryant out there at AT&T Park, he came through in this as well, a 1 for 4, but getting that 9th inning started. And as I always say, one batter, one pitch, one out at a time. I've been saying that all season. I don't know if you've been watching, but that's what I've been saying around the newsroom.
Sounds like something Cap throws out there every now and again. I think he stole it from you, didn't he?
I definitely stole it from me, and I stole it from somebody else.
Right.
Everybody's stealing.
One pitch
W
at a time.
flag, look at the Cubs fans still out there. Hey, Jake Arrieta's talking. Let's listen in.
What was being said in the dugout before the final at bat?
Man, nothing really. Just cheering our guys on, watching it intently, and ready for a guy to get a big hit, and that's exactly what happened.
You say that about the way you finished this game. How critical is that for momentum now heading into the NLCS?
Well, it's really big, I mean, whoever we play, Dodgers, Nationals, we know that's going to be a really tough series. But I don't know if it gets any better than the series where, we just won against the Giants. Those guys are about as good as they get in the postseason, and to beat them gives us a lot of confidence moving forward.
Do you feel like unfinished business at all when it comes to the NLCS?
Well, I mean, we want to get over the hump, obviously, and take the next step. But the ultimate goal is to win the World Series, so got to get through the team that's in our way, whoever that is. Thanks.
Is it almost, you say obviously the job is not done, but you have to.
See the W flags flying. McCovey Cove, a couple of kayaks out there with the W flags flying. Cubs win the series 3-1. Again, 4 runs in the 9th inning. Let's go back out. Dexter Fowler's talking.
Pitcher, and they kind of took off the rhythm.
So what are you saying to each other on the bench as this is happening?
I think we were just smiling, ready. I think everybody's ready. We know one guy was going to do it, but we didn't know who. But if the opportunity presented itself, then we were going to do it.
How surprised are you that you were able to pull this comeback off?
Not at all. Not at all. We've done it before, and we've been in front of tough crowds. We've been down, 3 or 4 runs and come back in the inning. So we got a lot of confidence in our offense and especially in our defense as well.
Describe the mood right now.
It's unbelievable. The guys, we're pumped. We're pumped. I don't think we're going to be going to sleep anytime soon tonight.
Dexter, when you came into spring training, I remember the words out of your mouth to the whole group. I won't repeat them because it's not made for TV, but you said it was over, and here you are, again, checking off one more step in the process of where you guys want to go.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, everybody, we coming in, and, everybody has... No, we came in and everybody had the same goal in mind, and this is just one stepping stone to the goal.
Do you feel like, in a way, with the way the NLCS went last year, that this team is even more motivated at this point than they were?
Oh, for sure. We have motivation for sure to come in here and win a World Series. We got the right pieces that came in, and it's exciting to do so.
Were you just trying to make it dramatic for the fans at home tonight? Was that the plan?
I think so. It was a long game last time. We were like, let's do it in 9. Let's get it over with. And,
All right, Dexter, go party.
Let's do it.
Dexter Fowler, and how great was it for the Cubs in spring training? The big surprise, Theo walks out there, he brings Dexter Fowler out with him. He talks about being on that team last year, but boy, he's been a big part of this season. I don't know where they'd be without him this year.
Yeah, neither do I. I was thinking back last winter, the Dexter Fowler story this year. I just didn't see the destiny, where they were hoping and wanting to get to without him. He was so big for them in the second half of last year. I was really hoping that they would find a way to bring him back. Thankfully, they did. We talked about the impact, and I think we saw, it was a couple nights ago during the broadcast, they were talking about what this team was. I think 80-38 with Dexter, at the top of the lineup, in the lineup every day. I mean, look at those numbers, just absolutely outstanding. 42 games over 500 and just a few games over 500 when he wasn't playing. And so I think that tells you an awful lot about what he does and what he brings to the table every night. So, listen, Dexter has been huge, particularly getting on base, no doubt about it.
Well, they've been saying for 2 years, as Dex goes, we go. Sure. And they've been trying to get him on track in this playoff series, and they look forward to the NLCS now. How about the body language that we saw from this team last night?
Right.
all the way through this evening to right now, seeing them celebrate out at AT&T Park?
It's a great question. It's an interesting dynamic, and I think Cubs fans are witnessing what they thought they were reading into. And I think that I generally agree that there was some kind of bad body language going on in the beginning of this ball game. This Cubs team, and that's sometimes what happens when you get down. Things aren't going your way. You know, the base hits are finding the holes. It is what it is, but you've got to fight off that energy. I mean, it was bad energy in the dugout, but you see the energy now, obviously.
Here's Wilson Contreras, one of tonight's big stars.
I can talk to him. I just don't. Should I be talking to him? Wilson, how do you come in the ninth inning as a pinch hitter and keep that rally going to tie the game?
I wasn't trying to do too much. I was trying to hit the ball to the middle, and that's what I did. I mean, I made an adjustment right away because when I saw in the curve, I knew they was running again, and I just tried to hit it.
What was it like in the dugout between the 8th and 9th innings? You guys were down. It seemed like you were out of it. Everybody back in Chicago was ready to go back to Wrigley on Thursday.
Oh my God! To me, I was a little mad because I want to win. I'm serious. I want to win, but I was trying to wake up the team, wake up everybody. And when the 9th inning started with a base hit, and then Bristol get a walk, and then Sobris get a double, we fired up everybody. Then when I came into here, I tell myself, calm down and just enjoy the bat. Don't try to do much. That's what I did.
Congratulations. You're going to the National League Championship Series.
Thank you.
Wilson, describe the emotions through this entire series. I mean, last night, a 5-hour game, and then tonight you turn it around, and it didn't seem like the team had a lot going until that 9th inning.
Oh my God, this is so amazing for us. We never give up. We're just trying to do the little things to win. And coming to the 9th inning, down by 3. I mean, most of the team just give up and play the Thursday, but we never give up. We just play a 27 out as we always did.
I saw Joe kind of put his arm around you in the dugout there before you stepped up to the plate. What was he saying to you? What were you guys talking about?
He just told me, like, hey, just go out there and have some fun. That's what I did. I mean, I really wasn't trying to do too much. I was trying to hit a ball to second base, but when you try to do this much, good thing gonna happen.
I don't know if anyone was more excited than David Ross.
Here's Javier Baez, game-winning hit at the podium.
To play hard, and after 2 wins, I said we gotta come back to the third game and play like it's the first one. It was a really good game, and they got to us, and they got that W with the walk-off. Today, we didn't give up. Their pitcher, he threw a great game. He was hitting his spot. He was getting to us, and he threw 8 innings. Obviously, we just make their bullpen pay.
Okay, another question in the back to the right.
You guys had such a heart-wrenching loss last night. It's got to be really gratifying to come through the way you guys did, scoring with 4 runs in the 9th inning, and now you guys are going on to the NLCS. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the game of baseball is a game that is 27 outs. We can't give up because we're down. We were fighting till we finally got 2 men on base, and Wilson came in and tied the game.
Okay, another one. Right here, Phil.
Javi, on the ground ball by Denard Span, could you just take us through? It seemed like it was hard just to get to the ball and then to get up and make the throw as quick as you did. And in the end, what did you feel like when the replay went the way it did?
Oh, I was praying that it was going to be out. He was a leadoff hitter that he can get down the line pretty good. And I was playing pretty deep, and I was surprised I got to that ball, and even more surprised that it was that close.
Any last one for Javier? All right, we'll let him get back to the celebration.
Thank you.
Javier Baez with the game-winning hit. A couple of spectacular plays. One that got overturned by review. The tag was unbelievable. I liked FS1 showing that string of plays over the season where he tags the runner at second base and how quick his hands are.
Well, and you continue to watch the development, he's becoming so comfortable on the field. Like even the play that he turned, the Denard Span play that he turns or doesn't turn, you see it and he just gets, he's so confident in these positions.
Joe Maddon's press conference brought to you by Xfinity.
In Game 5, is there any bigger message sent by the way you guys did finish this off against a team that's been so tough to eliminate?
Well, I mean, I think as a group, obviously, it's 2 years in a row now that we're getting to this particular level. I think it validates on a lot of different levels the job that we've done to this point. I think if you're a player on this particular team within the organization, it's getting to the point now you want to expect to get to the postseason, and you want to expect to get deeply into the postseason. It also speaks to the way we play. Javi just touched on it, that there's 27 outs, and you don't give any of them up, and you keep playing for all 27. And after the game, even on the mound there, as they're taking the photographs, the guys are chanting, we don't quit, we don't quit. We don't quit. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, you hear that all the time, and I know everybody says it, but you have to actually live it. And I have to tell you, I mean, I've seen it so many times from this group, and that's a big part of our philosophy. And I like to keep things simple, and that's simple. And I don't want to get complicated. We've just played 27 outs.
All right, next question for Joe. Over here to the straight back.
Would you agree that Anthony started to get better at bats tonight, and that walk was really big?
He walked. That's it. Would he have 2 walks? 2 walks in the line drive up the middle, right? When guys are struggling at all, more than likely for me, they're expanding their strike zone. That's it. That's normally what causes guys to go backward. And he, being who he is, and like I said before the game, they're going to target him. And they're going to say, we're not going to let him beat us. We're just not going to pitch to this guy. And I'm sure that was part of the game plan. So he finally made the adjustment today. And he just needs to take his walks if they want to do that, moving along to the next guy's Zobrist double, pretty big play. Very large play today. So, we're maybe non-conventional in the way the lineup is built. I think I pinch hit for Addison for the first time ever today. But they all knew coming into it, double switch for Jason Hayward yesterday. They all knew coming into it, and I explained it to them before, things are just a little bit, it's the same, but everything's different in regards to the kind of moves you may make at this time of the season. They're all on board, and it just happened to play out.
And over here to the far right.
Yes, sir.
Joe, congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
And I guess to use like a video game analogy, you see it as you're kind of just going to the next stage, the next level. There's so much expectation on this club. You're 2 steps away now from...
Yeah, and we love it. I'm telling you, man, that's a good word. Expectations is a good word. And because normally it means that you have something good attached to it at the other side. It's pressure, expectations. I want our guys to thrive on those 2 words for the years to come. I want the whole organization to. And again, that means there's a lot expected of you. Good. There should be. We should all have a lot expected of us, and then it should manifest itself in the sense that it should bring out the best in you. And I think that you saw that tonight within our group. You've seen it all season. That's actually like 106 wins, I think, for the year. That's pretty significant. And so all those things, I want to have us channel in a positive direction.
And right here in the center.
Yeah.
Any thoughts tonight on facing either the Dodgers or Nationals, knowing that neither Scherzer nor Kershaw can pitch Game 1?
Honestly, I don't have any desire either way. I really don't. Washington's a shorter plane ride. Couple time zone changes coming out west. No Andrew with the Dodgers. Andrew Friedman and I are friends. Washington, I don't know as many people. We have a house in Long. I mean, there's all this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter because when you start worrying about who you're going to play, it could bite you because it really shouldn't matter. We played both groups all this year. We played decently against both. It's a different time of the year, so again, I really don't. I'm just happy to be in the dance.
Joe, so much has been made about your team having that wonderful atmosphere, relaxed, fun, almost clubhouse, kidding around. Mm-hmm. How easy has it been for you to get the guys to buy in, and how much fun has it been for you as a manager to work with this team? You had some good teams down in Tampa, but this is a special group.
It is a special group. It's pretty easy when you want to have kids act like kids. I listen, but you see them on the field. We play hard. I think we play it right. We're pretty fundamentally sound. Normally we play a good game of baseball on a daily basis. And understand, we're going to get better. These kids are young. They're young. That whole infield today, Rizzo was 27, by far the oldest out of the whole group. And when you put Contreras behind the plate, and of course if Soler's in the outfield, then it's pretty youthful. So to be able to be participating in this particular moment now speaks well for the future, because I don't anticipate any of them changing when it comes to their personalities, their methods. I just think they're going to get better. They're not going to get full of themselves and think it's just going to throw my glove out there and it's going to come to. I don't think our guys will ever be that way. So it's fun. I like to have fun. I have never done anything well in my entire life that I didn't enjoy. I want them to enjoy this moment. They enjoyed the moment tonight, and then you get a chance to move on.
Straight here in the middle, Bill.
Yes, sir.
You're top of the eighth. You go down 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
What's going through your mind going to the bottom of
Johnny Cueto at Wrigley Field. And I was telling the folks in there, if you ever looked at those numbers, they're not good for us. He's really tough on us. I mean, like Rizzo's 3 for 26 or 7, something like that. I think some people are like 0 for. Our team batting average might be barely over 100. So I mean that. I didn't. In the first game, my thought was, full disclosure, I did not want to see him in the 5th game. I don't care where it was being played. He's deceptive. He's good. He knows what he's doing out there, and he gives us problems. So I'm happy to not be having to face him in a winner-take-all game. That was it. I'm being very honest.
Straight here, Phil.
Joe, you get to reset your rotation, which I would assume, however you do it, everybody will be fresh. It'll be the way you want it. And whoever you play won't have that luxury. How much of an advantage is that for you? And secondly, scoring like you did tonight late in the game, and with Rizzo getting going, does that make you feel like maybe this lineup is going to break loose like it did at one point last postseason, or are these postseason games just grinds and that's what people should expect?
I think you should expect the grind. The pitching's so good on both sides. You don't get to this point without good pitching. It'd be difficult for me to imagine we're just going to go out there and start pummeling the baseball. I just want us to work good at bats. Last night we got Bumgarner up to 85 pitches after 4 innings. That's pretty solid right there, as an example. Tonight, Matty Moore was outstanding. I've never seen him pitch that. I've seen him good. I've seen him win a playoff game in Texas, but that's as good as I've seen him. Total package, everything, command, everything he had going on tonight. It was outstanding. So, regardless of who we play, the pitching's going to be good. We have a little extra break, but we just went through that coming off the season, having to wait on the wild card to get to this particular moment. We had to wait on that. So I think we handled that well, and I didn't feel any rust, the famous buzzword right now, rust. I didn't really notice that about us.
Last couple, Bill.
You talked about the rust and all that. Is that a worry in the back of your mind that the players can get rusty? Or
it's hard. No, I'm not, and I'll tell you, we have such great leadership within the clubhouse. You're at a particular time of the year that you should be eager and ready to play, regardless of the weather, wherever you're playing at, all that kind of stuff. And you should be ready to play. So rustiness, if there's any, that should be kicked off after the first couple innings. And I also believe that rust is really mitigated by good starting pitching. So if your starter goes out there and pitches well, if you're a little bit rusty, it gives you a chance to get into the game.
And last one in the far back.
Joe, when you look at how your players came in the 9th inning after that 1, 2, 3, 8th, did you think there was any, use the word osmosis, that your players were able to sort of channel that instinct that they had, like the Giants, where you guys just wouldn't give up, wouldn't quit, give it everything to the last out? Yeah,
I want us to I think we're building that reputation, just like the Giants have established that reputation, that you do play to the last drop, and that at this time of the year, you could better come with your A game, because we're going to show up for 27 outs. Listen, it's impressive that we beat them. Regardless of what their record was this year, and I know they had their travails in the second half, but they're outstanding. And they're just their professionalism and how they play is really it's high and it's top notch. And so I think it's for us to be able to beat them and beat them here in this particular game. Hopefully, I think that bodes well for the future. In regards to how we feel about ourselves. And if that's the last question, I do want to congratulate the Giants. Listen, I've known Boch for a long time. I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for him and how he does things in this entire organization. I have a lot of friends in this organization. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Millie Mays before the game today, which was really special for me. So to them, again, for us to be able to win today is, it's, you know, like I said, to beat you guys in this ballpark is not easy. And it's the way you guys do things, I think, is very admirable and a great example for the rest of the industry.
Guess we have one last one.
Sorry to keep you here from your celebration. What do you think about Boch's run of 10 straight elimination?
It's crazy. That's what I'm talking about. It's crazy good. It just doesn't happen. That's so difficult to do. Like I said, when you talk about Boch, we've not been good friends, but we've been friendlies for a long time. And I remember when he managed in Riverside. I remember that. I remember having conversations with him, and he's just likable. He's a likable guy. But then I've always thought he had a fearless method of managing, which I've always respected in any manager, when they're not afraid to do different things because they're not afraid to answer a tough question post. And that's one of the, I think, one of the best ingredients a manager can have, and I think he's just dripping with that. So I've always felt that way about him. And furthermore, just a side note, my son had to do a photo shoot with him one time for a friend, and he treated my son like gold. And my son still is a Bochy fan. I hope Joey, if he's watching right now, he's not too upset, because the way Bochy treated him at that time, he just got on the phone and told me what a great gentleman he was and how well he treated him.
Okay, thank you very much,
You
Joe.
got it.
Joe Maddon and the Cubs going back to the NLCS. A quick tip of the cap to the Giants, who had fought off 10 elimination games in a row dating back to 2003. Cubs win 6-5, and I thought one of the best things from his press conference was mentioning, as they were taking the photo, all the players were down there on the mound yelling, "We don't quit. We don't quit."
Well, right. And even, you know, you listen to Joe and how he compares himself or compares what they want to do to what the San Francisco Giants have accomplished. That's exactly what we're talking about. They didn't quit. I mean, we watched the San Francisco Giants team capitalize on Joe Panik and Conor Gillaspie and guys that we were like sitting around going, I mean, you've got to be kidding me. Hit after hit after hit from these guys who, you know, are having these impact bats during the postseason. And yet the Cubs are the team at the end who put together the ninth inning. They fight back when everybody, you heard Joe talking about Johnny Cueto at Wrigley Field and what was getting ready to happen on Thursday night and what didn't happen, because this team is resilient. It's amazing watching their energy on a field. You know, it did. I mean, early in this game, there was some bad energy with the group, and I'll tell you, they kind of just got one guy on and then another guy on. All of a sudden, you saw the look in their faces as they were all on the top step of the dugout on the railing right there. You could see it like, this is our game. We're going to get this done. Give me the next at bat. And it was good at bat after good at bat after good at bat.
I know we'll touch on this later in the postgame show, but Moore comes out. He was dominating the Cubs, held them to just 2 hits.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have gone 1 or 2 more batters because
and not pitched the rest of the rest of the postseason.
The Cubs got to that bullpen, which we thought might be the difference in this series, and it was the difference in this game.
Very predictable. I mean, you know, and that's where you give Bruce Bochy so much credit for how he did this. But I knew they were in trouble when he went out to get Sergio Romo. The look on his face was, I've done this too many times in the month of September. Here I am doing it again. You felt panic kicking in, and I said, this is that crack that the Cubs are looking for. They need to kick this thing wide open, expose it. They've got a very vulnerable bullpen, and start to make some things happen. Yeah, I mean, listen, we can sit around and talk about, you know, Matt Moore going back out for a 9th past 120 pitches. Hey, let's not forget he's already done Tommy John one time, and the pressure that goes along with this. I know Moore had an outstanding ball game. That is hard for me to even imagine. I get what you're saying. But at 120 plus, the only thing that really comes to mind is Johan Santana from a long time ago when he was going for a no-hitter, and it raced up to 134, and it basically ended his career. You know, you certainly don't want to see that from Matt Moore. Incredible performance. You've got to have. This would have burned the Giants at some point.
The bullpen would have cost them sooner or later.
Absolutely guarantee it.
Whether it was this game or Game 5.
We watched it. I talked about when the Cubs played them in early September, the path that Boch was wearing out to the mound. Now, some of those games were all one-run ball games, and they were close, but he was using the September. Remember the 40-man roster? I mean, he had so many guys. I mean, it was unbelievable. We were complaining about the length of time in the ball game. But that's what they dealt with. That was the issue that they had. They were a little thin offensively, and they had a very weak bullpen. Their starting pitching was what was going to give them the chance to win this series, and it did. In the end, the bullpen failed them.
A little cat and mouse with Joe Maddon. It led to 5 pitchers in the 9th inning, 4 Cubs runs, and a comeback win. 6-5 the final. They take the series 3-1, and now Game 1 of the NLCS will be Saturday at Wrigley Field. The magic number down to 8 for a World Series title. We're going to take our first break here on Cubs Postseason Live. We'll come right back. Much more from the clubhouse, more interviews, more analysis. We'll break it all down. We might even break out the blue foam fist one more time.
So you want a fist pump one more time?
One more? You want another one?
Oh, well, here we go.
Wait. Okay, now we can blow it up. That's the first time we've ever done twice in one game.
Well, we can do it we're only going to do about another hour or so.
Maybe 2 or 3 more times.
One more time?
Yeah. The triple hit right there it is. We'll be right back. Cubs Postgame Live.
Cubs Postgame Live is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all.
If you feel like singing a song and you want other people to sing along, just sing what you feel. Don't let anyone say it's wrong. When there's a light, what light? There's a light, what light? There's a light, white light.
Some things are simply impossible to ignore. The strikingly designed Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid, the SUV that dares to go beyond utility. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Meeting people is my life. I was embarrassed to show my teeth. It was time to do something that was going to be permanent.
The Clear Choice one-day approach is making dental implants a reality for people all over the country who suffer from missing or failing teeth.
We have expertise that you might not find anywhere else, all in one location.
The next day, I had a new smile. Couldn't wait to show some folks.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
I had the best smile I'd ever had in my life.
Call Clear Choice today.
Look at it, lads. New York City. Just doesn't get any better than this.
Actually, it does. With Grubhub, you can get the best foods delivered anywhere.
Gluten-free pad thai here for Seamus.
I am Seamus.
Gluten-free?
Yeah. Can't even taste the difference. Oh, you gotta lock up that front tire.
Welcome back. It's almost time for you to tell us what you're thinking. Get your mobile, laptop, tablet ready to go. Go to csnchicago.com/vote. Welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live. We're asking, who would you rather face now in the NLCS? It's going to start on Saturday, Game 1 at Wrigley Field. Would you rather face the Nationals or the Dodgers? Going to be one of the two here.
It's a great question. I'm finding it very difficult to come up with an answer right now, and I cover baseball, all of it. The Dodgers have a very interesting group. They're very vulnerable to a John Lester right now. I mean, they have a lineup that is just very, very left-handed. They've got a Turner in there, but they are very vulnerable to a lefty. That, to me, is you got 2 John Lester starts potentially in there. That makes all the sense in the world. That feels like, to me, 2 wins. I look at the Nats. They've got their own issues as well. I mean, they're trying to work their way through. They don't have Steven Strasburg. They lost Ramos. They're a little bit of a different team. I guess when I have to look at it on paper and look at some numbers to see where this all goes, I don't think it's going to be easy whichever way it ultimately goes. I would say this. I think Joe's point is probably the most valid one, and it matters. It really does. The Dodgers are on the West Coast, and that is a long way from home, and it just makes things very complicated when you're going back and forth, and if this thing gets long drawn out, that you're traveling so much. DC obviously much closer. You're not overly familiar with either team, but I think that, to me, that would probably be my answer right now, just based on the travel, because I'm not terribly interested in flying back and forth to L.A. over and over and over again.
Either way, you're going to see some great young players. The Cubs obviously have, and both the Dodgers and Nationals do too. Seager is a guy who's kind of jumped onto the spotlight for the Dodgers, and he's a great player.
Oh, most
fun guy to watch.
Absolutely, he's had major impact at the front end of games. He hits for power. He's one of their, he is their Addison Russell. I mean, he's had a fantastic season, and he is one of their leaders already. I was talking to somebody just a few days ago. They told me that they absolutely believe he will be the face of their franchise within a year or two. And I mean, that is a huge compliment for an organization, for the Los Angeles Dodgers, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big statement. So he is a heck of a ball player. They got a good group. They've got a Clayton Kershaw. They've got a good bullpen. They've got some answers in a lot of different ways. Both of these teams are going to be battles. It's just interesting. I've been watching this series, and it went back and forth, and obviously it's going back to D.C. for Game 5. They're without Clayton Kershaw. Max Scherzer will be used in Game 5 for D.C. So you kind of have both these teams right where you want them.
That's the great part.
Home field advantage matters now, like it still matters, and you've got the other team now that gets stuck in the 5-game series using their ace. That's the thing that you gained by winning tonight and coming back. You didn't have to use John Lester in Game 5.
This fan vote has kind of gone back and forth. It started Dodgers at about 70-80%, then they've talked you back down. Look at it, still going back and forth, and right now it's fairly close to 50-50. What do we got? 47%, 45% Dodgers. I think what we're seeing is that Cubs fans aren't sure who they want to face, but right now, the way the Cubs played in the first series, I think Cubs fans got some of the jitters out. I was at Game 2 as a fan watching. It was very quiet. Every pitch was like being at an opera. Everybody was quiet sitting, then they would cheer at one point, then real quiet. I think some of the nerves are out for Cubs fans after that first round.
You just don't relax very well in the postseason. And even as players, as you enter the next series, you go from the DS to the championship and even to the World Series. It's a different vibe and a different energy, and you just have to get used to it. Hopefully you get over it quite quickly, typically in that first game, and the players get into position to where they want to play. I mean, to me, it makes an awful lot of sense, to get this thing moving and get rolling with John Lester on Saturday. I'm excited for it.
All right, this is flipped. They now want Nationals, Cubs fans. Let's go back out to San Francisco and Jed Hoyer talking. Oh, we have Jed Hoyer live.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Hey, Jed, congratulations.
How much fun was that? We watched you in the stands on television. Jed,
it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's one of those games we didn't do much for 8 innings, and our guys stuck with it. We had unbelievable at-bats in the 9th inning, and I love the fact that you can mention 5 or 6 different guys and how they contributed what they did in the 9th inning. There's no one hero tonight. There's about 5 or 6, and that says a lot about our club.
Jed, how about the young guys that came up, especially in the 9th inning, whether it was Baez or Contreras? They don't seem to be fazed at all by this big stage, and they really came through for you here.
Yeah, to me, I'm actually really glad. Like, if one of those guys had hit a homer, I'd be less happy than I would be. The fact they hit singles up the middle, they were mature in their approach. They didn't try to do too much. I think that says a lot about those guys. They're maturing. In the postseason, you can't get big. You can't, try to be the hero. And those guys just, took what the pitcher gave them, single up the middle, and as a result, we're doused in champagne.
Jed, this might seem like an obvious question, but I really do believe that there's something to it. I look at ownership and I look at you guys and think you're probably thrilled that this young team won this game in San Francisco the way that they did. It's part of a playoff run, and a lot of the things that you ultimately deal with in the postseason. I felt like this was just a trying game for them, but to get it done in San Francisco on the road will probably help a lot of these young players grow as well.
There's no doubt. I mean, the team we beat has 3 titles. A lot of those guys have 3 rings for a reason. They're hard to beat. Everyone sort of called them cockroaches. They're impossible to kill. I think to beat that team on the road, I think it's a great learning experience. And the only way to gain postseason experience is to keep playing in postseason series. You can't gain experience if you go home. So, the fact that we were able to win the game tonight on the road, advance, the more at-bats these guys get, under the big lights, the better they're going to get in these situations.
How do you feel about your bullpen moving forward? I mean, there were some big performances in this series, whether it was Travis Wood coming in at one point, Mike Montgomery pitched great last night, Chapman closes the door. You kind of had to build that late in the season, but it seems like it's coming together now at the right time.
Yeah, I thought the bullpen was sort of an underrated hero tonight. That game, it felt almost like a bigger lead than 3 runs, and they kept it at 5 runs for a long time. Hector threw really well, CJ threw well, Travis threw well. And we were able to keep the lead where it was And then obviously Chapman with a unbelievable bounce back save, striking out the side in really dominant fashion. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't want to see any balls in play in the ninth, and Chappie took care of that. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, that's why Chapman is on board. Hey, Jed, what are the next few days for this Cubs team going to be like? Are you guys staying there in San Francisco tonight to celebrate and enjoy it, work your way back, prepare for the next series?
Yeah, the beauty of winning home field advantage for the National League is that we can kind of sit back a little bit and wait. We'll watch the game on Thursday night. Hope they play 20 innings, and we'll play the winner. But, it's nice this year knowing that we're going to be at home. We don't have to go anywhere. We can start right in Chicago in front of our home fans, and it's a nice feeling to have that.
You guys got to this point last year. A lot of players right from spring training saying this was going to be different. They feel different. Chris Bryant said it coming into this series, how much of a different player he feels having gone through it a year ago. How different is this team now as you go back for the second straight year?
Yeah, it's more mature. We just talked about guys like Baez having a huge at bat. We've got some guys like Hayward and Zobrist that are veteran guys. It has to be different. Last year, obviously we struggled at the plate against New York. I think we actually struggled a little bit at the plate in this series, and hopefully, we got that 4 games out of our system, and hopefully we bring the bats against whoever we play on Saturday.
Jed, I am a former Cubs player. You obviously are running the Cubs. You see your team right now dealing with this expectation that is over this team. I mean, we talk about bullseyes. Again, here in Chicago, we felt a lot of negative energy when we were watching this game tonight because people were getting worked up about the way this game was ultimately going. From your perspective, from your perch, how do you see the expectations that hover over this organization almost on a daily basis?
I try to look at it the way Joe does. Expectations are good, and we are a good team. We had the most wins this season, and as a result, people have high expectations. So I think we have to realize that they're not going away this year, they're not going away next year, and hopefully not for a long time. I think people think we have a good team. We do have a good team, and as a result, they expect us to perform at the highest level all the time. And hopefully we can, I still don't think we played our best baseball. I think our best is ahead of us, hopefully this season. And, hopefully we have some, exciting games to come, and hopefully we keep playing the way we are.
Well, we appreciate your time very much. Go back to celebrating with your team, and we'll see you back here in Chicago. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jed.
Great. Hey, thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Meanwhile, let's go back out to San Francisco real quickly because John Lackey is out there talking. Let's hear from today's starter.
All right, John Lackey, you took the mound tonight, and your team's headed to the NLCS. It's got to feel good.
It's unbelievable. I'm still trying to process what happened there in the ninth. That was what a fun win. I've seen some things in the playoffs, and that was unbelievable. Special to be a part of. And damn, the boys came with it at the end.
You know better than anybody to do it and to move on in this fashion against a team like the Giants, the kind of momentum that can give to this team. Will you describe that and what it can do for a group? Not that you guys need anymore.
Right. But, we knew it was going to be a challenge. The Giants are a special organization, a special group of guys over there. There's a lot of rings in that room over there. So we knew it was going to be a challenge. And for this young group to step up the way they did there in the ninth and really battled last night, even when we lost, that was a good baseball game. But Lester just straight shoved in the first inning, in the first game. So, I can't wait to watch the big left-hander go in game one of the next one.
Hey, you talk about that ninth inning and being unreal, but this team has really done that all season long. When you saw Chris work that at bat and then Anthony Rizzo works a walk, you knew something was starting to come together. Yeah,
we definitely didn't move anywhere. We had guys, sitting down in the same spots, that sort of thing. But to do it in the regular season and do it in that atmosphere right there is two different things. That was really special.
John, you weren't here a year ago, but you definitely heard from these guys that there's some unfinished business. Do you feel like this group is chomping at the bit to get back to that NLCS and finish it off the right way?
Wow, 100%. I think from day one, as a team, we've been talking about winning the World Series. And that's what we're here for. And, man, personally, I'm just glad I'm going to get another shot and go get after it.
It's not about the haircuts. We know that.
Yeah, I ain't getting no haircut. My wife won't let me get a haircut. She likes it long anyway, so we're going to let it eat.
All right, John, congratulations. Thank you so much.
All right.
John Lackey was the starter tonight. It's time for our UPS store taking care of business player of the game, Javier Baez. I still can't believe he was able to get this ball, make the throw, and make it even close at first base.
Yeah, this is where you want to get rid of instant replay because these plays back in the day, you would have been out. The umpire knows it. You want to call them out because these are incredible plays. And in my generation, that's what you got. And nowadays, we got instant replay that correct these things, unfortunately. Wow, what athleticism. As I was saying a little bit earlier in the show, just kind of when you watch him play, you see the confidence and, you know, the ability and the willingness to throw his body around. He's just such an incredible athlete, you know, from the tags that we talk about at second base to, you know, his you know, how he hustles out of the box. I mean, he motors. I mean, he's standing on third base. As soon as that ball gets by there, we know it. Watch this. I mean, he's always about pressing the throttle, pressing that accelerator down and seeing what he can do on a field. Like, I don't think he's ever amazed at what he accomplishes. And that's what makes him such an incredible baseball player, but such an asset to an organization. Most guys get to the stage, Luke, and we at times are afraid to test the boundaries. We play not to screw up. When you play a lot of times not to screw up, it kind of, you know, it pulls at what your talent level could be because you're ultimately playing reserved at 85% of what you're capable of doing sometimes because you don't want to be the guy that causes your team to lose or the guy that throws the ball away on a barehanded play. Javi doesn't worry about that stuff. He just plays his game and goes about it. And yeah, every now and again there's an errant throw. We've talked about it. But when you watch him play this game, I don't think any of us here in Chicago would want him to play any other way than the way he goes about his business. And that's what makes him absolutely so special. I mean, as far as the depth chart, maybe, you always look at your team, like say 1 through 25, and you rank them, like who's most important. I mean, I would say that Javi has climbed from the lower echelon of this team almost into the top 5. I mean, there's no doubt with everything that he has accomplished this season. I think it's been an incredible run for him.
Well, he's gone from a guy that fans wondered whether or not he was going to be the player the Cubs would package to go get another star player, that he might be the prospect they would include. He went from a guy who made some throwing errors last year and took a lot of grief, and people said, no, wait. He's spectacular in the field. Hold on. He went from a guy who was striking out a lot to shortening it up and becoming a guy who shortened his swing, closed up some of the holes. Maybe he's not going to hit as many homers, but he's become a really, really good everyday player.
Well, and I think you're making great points there. I mean, and part of us, many of us thought, was his ego, as we didn't really know him well enough, very young player at the major league level, would his ego get in the way? That being part of it. I mean, the big swings and the big plays and the big arm and all of that wanting to showcase itself because that's who he is, but, harnessing it in a way that allows him to be an everyday answer, in a way that he is having the impact on the field the way that he should. That is what we're seeing, and it's been such a joy. I mean, when you think back to the big swings, and I can remember many days sitting up here talking to you at home saying, if he does not cut down on that big swing, they're going to send him back to AAA, and we're never going to talk about this kid again. And yet he found a way to realize that, in order to stay, he had to do this, and he was willing to do it.
That's a rare, rare trait for a baseball player, and that's what's made him special so far. All right, we're going to take a break here on Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Still time to vote on our fan poll right now. We want to know, what do you think? Who would you rather face in the NLCS? Now it's gone back the other way. You're starting to say Dodgers again.
Nats.
It's getting late. Cubs fans can't make up their minds. They don't know. Dodgers, Nationals. We'll let it go a little bit longer, and we'll be right back on Cubs Postgame Live.
Daniel Murphy?
To be the best in the National League.
Did you just see that? That was awesome. We have to try it. Okay. Okay, mine's not working. Maybe you have to bump it. Oh, yeah, do the bump it thing. Right. Okay. Yeah.
You can take money out using the BMO Harris app.
You want to buy a hairless cat? There's a pet store down the street.
Cool.
I think she said BMO Harris app. Yeah, that makes more sense.
When your phone is your debit card, that's the BMO effect. BMO Harris Bank. We're here to help.
In Chicago, some things just go together, like front porches and blue W's, bricks and ivy, Waveland Avenue and souvenirs, Jake and State Farm. Like home and auto insurance with State Farm, they just go together, and they save you time and money. Just another way we're here to help life go right. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
You know the feeling. The rush of every roll, every flip, sip, bite, note, and night. You know the feeling. Get it at Ameristar.
When you visit Canals BMW, your toughest decision is which BMW will you drive home? A sporty BMW convertible? BMW sedan? BMW coupe? Or one of these BMW high-performance luxury models? And of course, everybody can get into one of these beauties. Canals BMW. Outstanding selection, competitive pricing, always a great decision.
Time now for our Four Seasons heating, air conditioning, and plumbing. Who's hot, who's not? So it's the Nationals or the Dodgers coming up next in the NLCS. Who's hot? 5 for 11. Justin Turner, 5 runs and 3 RBI. Who's not? Danny Espinosa, the Nationals, 1 for his last 11 with 8 strikeouts. Cubs win 6-5, 4 runs in the 9th inning, and a 3-1 series win against the Giants. Let's go back out to San Francisco, inside the locker room with Anthony Rizzo.
We're going to ride this one out and have a good time with it.
You're obviously a confident team, but also a young team. How much confidence does this give you backing up to really to earn it?
Yeah, no doubt. Every step of the way, we're going to earn it. Nothing's going to be handed to us. As young as we are, we have the best leadership and veterans on the team. So they help us out through everything.
What does David Ross mean?
He means everything. He comes in every day. He does his routine. When he plays, he's a little angry to be around, but he's the best. Him hitting that home run there, he's got a place in history now.
You know, he's the oldest Cubs pitcher. You guys all know that.
I think oldest player ever. Catcher ever. Yeah. So it's amazing. It's an amazing season he's had, amazing career, and we're hoping to celebrate it in a big way.
Anthony, as you head to the NLCS this year in comparison to a year ago, how different does it feel with this group right now, this mindset?
It feels a lot different. We're going in there, we're going to have a fresh pitching staff. We have home field advantage. We have Wrigley Field. We have the Chicago fans. There's so many different things. There's a Game 5 going on. So we're going to enjoy this tonight. We're going to really have a good time, and we're excited to get back to Wrigley and play whenever, Friday or Saturday.
After a game like last night, and then you come into the ninth downs where you guys you're so loose. It's just, how do you guys maintain that attitude?
Well, we have nothing to lose. That's how we look at it. We never quit, and we had the MVP of the league leading us off. He gets on, and we know when the leadoff guy gets on, we can do some damage in any inning, and the ninth inning's no different.
Can you imagine what Cubs fans are feeling around all this back in Chicago?
I can't. You know what? But they deserve wins like this. The whole city, the state of Illinois, this organization deserves a win like tonight, and we earned every bit of it.
Was there any talk on the bench in the ninth about anybody saying anything?
I don't think so. It's just more of everyone looking at each other, knowing we could do it, and we've done it throughout the year, and it's that mindset of never giving up, and it doesn't matter what inning it is.
What can you say about the streak that they had in elimination games? How tough a team is this?
We knew it. We knew it coming in that, all the odds are against us, I feel like. With them, with the even year, with the best pitcher on the planet in the postseason pitching. So it's just one of those things where you got to keep grinding and find ways to win, and we did that for 3 games.
We know how confident a team you guys are, but to beat a team like that, does that bring it up a notch further, the confidence level?
I don't think so. I think we just got to keep going, keep sticking to our process. We know whoever we're going to play, the Dodgers and Nationals are going to be coming with the same intensity as the Giants, so we got to be ready to play them.
The guy next to the last couple games, Javi Baez, what can you say about him? He's got to be a dream to have next to you, right? And he's become really a natural professional star. You all guys have always known what he can do. Well, what a series.
No doubt. And, he's just, his baseball instincts are incredible. He lives for the spotlight, like we all do, but he just thrives, and he's a gamer. He's just he's just a true gamer.
I need to know if this is better than beer money.
This definitely tops beer money.
Really?
For sure it does.
Guys, can you believe that?
For sure tops beer money.
Anthony, enjoy this. Congratulations, man.
Anthony Rizzo, 2 walks and a single as the Cubs win. He's having a good time. Grandpa Rossi was just heard in the locker room yelling out, let's take this party to the plane, people. It's past my bedtime. So Grandpa Rossi's getting a little tired. Pitching recap for you tonight, presented by Ameristar Casinos Hotel. And you see there, John Lackey, they brought him in to pitch these types of big games. He wanted to go more than 4 innings. Who knew that Matt Moore would throw a great game like that? But once they finally got him out of there, that was the difference in the game.
It really was. Matt Moore, outstanding effort. I mean, you see the numbers there. 8 solid innings, 120 pitches. Poured his heart into his effort tonight. You heard Joe Maddon, who can speak to this as well as anybody. He had Matt Moore in Tampa. Said that had been the best he'd ever seen him throw, and I'm going to agree with that. We talked about it in the pregame show, the mixing and the matching, and sometimes there being those performances that really stand out. And he had a few here lately. One against the Dodgers that caught my eye. Obviously, lately he was coming off 2 really good starts into tonight, but really when he used that changeup, the cut fastball, and mixing his pitches, he used his secondary pitches so effectively tonight. Got a great result. Got burned by that one right there to David Ross. But all in all, I mean, this was a heroic performance. He just didn't have enough left at the end, and it was the right decision to take him out of the ball game. You asked, at 120 pitches, I can't even imagine going back out there for the 9th inning. And that, if a bullpen can't get you 3 outs, I'm sure this is what Giant fans are, kicking themselves over. Yeah. If we can't get 3 outs from our entire bullpen that hadn't even been called upon yet, we had issues that, well, you know what, we're going to catch up with us at some point. Credit where credit is due. The Cubs, they weathered the storm. I call it holding the deficit, and they really did in this ball game, meaning the bullpen did its job. I know that there was a couple more runs there in those middle innings, but they kept themselves within striking distance, and that's the point. 5-2 was doable. This game could have gone in a lot of different directions. This could have been a 5 or 6 run lead, and maybe this 9th inning doesn't happen the way that it does. Hope was still there at the end of the ball game once they got into that bullpen.
3 one-run games in this series. A little anxiety adds to the fun along the way, making the journey fun, and the Cubs have been doing that. 6-5 winners tonight to get it done with 4 runs in the 9th inning. Cubs take the series 3-1. Game 1 again of the NLCS starts on Saturday. Time for a break here on Cubs Postseason Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. We'll be right back. Fly the W.
Is new car shopping make you lose your mind? Get to Schaumburg Honda Automobiles for great customer service, selection, and savings.
During our sales spectacular, lease a Honda Civic sedan for just $179 a month, or a CRV for only $199 a month.
Bob Rohrman's Schaumburg Honda Automobiles, just 8 blocks west of the Woodfield Mall on Gulf Road in Schaumburg.
Hey, I fix my heart and my broken bones. If I can stand up on my own, don't make me stand alone. Lift me up so I can see the light. When the sun goes down, I will lay in your arms tonight. Don't be afraid, your heart's been repaid.
Your living room TV. If only you could bring it with you anywhere you went. It's got everything. Your live channels, instant access to the best entertainment, plus your recorded shows. The only problem is, it's stuck in your living room. Well, not anymore. Finally, you have the power to make the world your living room. Now the live channels you love and watch at home are with you anywhere. Download the new free DirecTV app. It's your TV. Take it with you.
Talk is cheap. Is your lawyer getting you the results that you and your family deserve? For over 29 years, I've worked hard to get my clients the results that they expect and deserve. We don't charge any fee unless we get you a settlement. Call our office 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. With over 10,000 satisfied clients and millions of dollars in settlements and verdicts, our results speak for themselves. Call me now and we'll fight for you.
Cubs fans, show your team pride with Cubs checking and an official Cubs MasterCard debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Member FDIC. Here's our Clear Choice Dental Implant Center's play of the game. How about the last out? Chapman comes in, brings the heat, and today, boy, he got it done. Mowed him down in the ninth, and the Cubs are moving on to the NLCS. We talked about the bullpen a little bit going into the series. They did a real nice job, and what a difference this bullpen has made from maybe early in the season to now.
Aroldis Chapman is the difference maker, you know, in this bullpen. Did you go into this game? I mean, I'm just asking you honestly, you know, did you think that Aroldis Chapman's 102 wasn't going to play tonight? Or were you nervous because of what you saw yesterday? I mean, I talked about it that way, and I certainly believe it. As a player, you believe it. I don't think any of us lost any confidence in Aroldis Chapman. When you throw that hard, more times than not, you're almost all the time, you're going to get the results that you want. I know that you felt, not you, but we all felt after, you know, after the Game 3 loss that, oh, that was bad. A couple lefties got him, but when you throw 102 to 105 miles an hour, I mean, that is absolutely, this is coming from a former player, and all current players would tell you, that is tough to hit. I mean, the timing of it, what happened last night just happened. You let it go and you move on. Aroldis Chapman is still the #1 reason why this bullpen is going to get the job done all postseason long.
You march him out there when the game's on the line and you want to lock it down. Let's go back out to San Francisco. Jason Hayward is talking in the locker room.
Jason, there were a lot of emotions throughout this series, especially throughout this game. Now that it's done and it's in your favor, what does it feel like to be headed to the NLCS?
It feels like a lot of hard work paying off. Really big statement for us to win a game on the road. The first team to do it in this series. That's what it's going to take. I felt like going into it, they got a great team, obviously, man. What a team. Obviously, a lot of people say it's their year because that's what they've done. They earned the right to say it's their year because it's an even year. To do that 3 years, in a row with that is an awesome accomplishment. But you know what, this team, in Chicago, we never shy away from any challenge. Up or down, we feel like we got to keep playing the game, and that's, this is our season right here. Tonight is our season. We came out winning, and whatever happened, but that's our season. We enjoy those challenges. We try and have fun with the game, and when all the crazy stuff going on with the fans, and the excitement and their team scoring runs, we stay right there with each other and say, hey, anything can happen, fellas. Here we go. The guys on the field, we're telling each other how many outs we got still. The fans are going to do what they're going to do. We can't control that stuff. We got to control each other and what we bring.
And the fans may not know this, but all season long you guys have been chanting, we never quit, we never quit. And tonight, and really it's been the MO throughout the season, but that 9th inning tonight, a lot of fans in Chicago are, they're thinking they got to get ready for Game 5, and you guys proved them wrong.
Yeah, I mean, prove them wrong, but you know what?
In a good way.
Absolutely, in a great way. But, our fans, man, I have a lot of love for them. Me personally, it's not been the best regular season I wanted to have, but to me that doesn't matter because when I do something good, they're still right there, cheering their tail off for me and for their team, and there's a lot of respect in that from us as players. We always tell ourselves at the end of every game, especially at home, don't take that stuff for granted. So these fans out here in San Francisco tonight, we're really happy for them, but yeah, they may have thought we were going to Game 5, but we knew it wasn't over until it was over, and we said, why not tonight, and we came out with a win.
So Jason Hayward, happy as the Cubs are celebrating and moving on to the NLCS for the second straight time. Take a look at the winning box score presented by Wrigleyville Sports. Cubs were struggling, had just 2 hits going into that 9th inning. Chris Bryant makes it the 3rd hit of the game. That was his only hit of the night, and then the ball started rolling. Rizzo works the long walk, and what else jumps out at you at this box score here?
Nothing. Let me say it this way. I'm sitting here looking at my own personal box score. I mean, it's the ability to string it together. When you see a box score the way that it is right there, it's not one that tells you this is the winning formula, this is what you want to see more of. They need to start hitting. I mean, the bottom line is that. I mean, certainly you still want to see those performances. We've talked about Anthony Rizzo bouncing back in this ball game, but when you look at the 9th inning, base hit, walk, double, single, base hit, that's stringing it together. There's 2 combinations. Either you pile up the hits and you continue to give yourself opportunities to score runs, or you string them together. Tonight, they strung them together. Good to see. Great time to pull it off in the 9th inning when I think all of us had given up hope here in Chicago. The Cubs went out there and proved us all wrong.
Meanwhile, we've asked for about 20 minutes now, who do you want to see him play in the NLCS? Cubs fans still voting. Continue to vote, and you can do that during this commercial break as well. Time for a break here on Cubs Postseason Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. The Cubs are moving on to the NLCS. We'll be right back.
Combining home and auto can save you big. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
Pat Hughes reporting from Wrigleyville Sports, where the excitement is building. Devin is getting a new home white jersey customized while he waits. He'll be ready for game action in no time. Ashley is having fun taking selfies in her new Cubs t-shirt. Fits like a glove. Colin is testing out a new bat. Get out the tape measure, long gone. Across the street from Wrigley Field, Wrigleyville Sports is your one-stop shop for everything Cubs. Open 7 days a week or anytime at WrigleyvilleSports.com.
My cardiologist said, I don't want you to come back until you get something done about those teeth. That is the foundation of good heart health.
We're doing amazing transformations, and it's not just a smile. It changes the person's total outlook.
At Clear Choice, we understand that your dental health impacts your total health.
Doing the best for your own personal health is what's important.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options. Call Clear Choice today.
Experience the thrill of the Lexus Performance line. Because the ultimate expression of power is control. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Hello?
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Are you serious? Not khakis. What are you wearing?
For fastballs, call me. For saving time and money, call State Farm.
You sound hideous.
6-5, Cubs win. They're moving on to the NLCS. Let's take a look back at Todd's keys to the game from the pregame show, sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield.
All right, no history, no problem. Talking about Matt Moore and his own history, pitching on 6 days rest, and the fact that there was no history against this Cubs team. He won. Honestly, held us ransom. My goodness, for 8 innings. Nothing there. One solo home run. David Ross, outstanding. The numbers told you an entirely different story, Luke. In fact, when pitching on 6+ days rest, he had almost 50 innings. He had a 5 ERA. We did not see that Matt Moore tonight. He knew it was an elimination game, and boy, oh boy, did he buy into what the Giants typically do. So he did his part. Shake the bat rack. Again, I might make this key on Saturday, too. I might use it again.
It worked.
I want to keep this going. We need more. I want to see some guys get hot. You heard Jed talk about it as well. We still haven't played our best baseball yet, and part of what I think he's getting at is the offense needs to click a little bit better. Part of that is we saw it in the 9th inning, but again, collectively, not outstanding. Better bullpen? Absolutely. Chapman and company, they did a fantastic job tonight. I knew that was going to happen. I really did feel like we would put yesterday behind us and kind of move back into what we know is a dominant bullpen, and you saw that tonight.
It was the difference in the game. The Giants' bullpen was not as good. Time for another break here on Cubs Postseason Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Cubs moving on to the NLCS. The magic number is 8. Fly the W. We're coming right back.
Look at it, lads. New York City. Just doesn't get any better than this.
Actually, it does. With Grubhub, you can get the best foods delivered anywhere.
Gluten-free pad thai here for Seamus.
I am Seamus.
Gluten-free?
Yeah. Can't even taste the difference. Oh, you gotta lock up that front tire.
Seal up your home and save money this winter with help from Menards. Storm windows reduce energy loss by adding an extra layer of insulation and are easily installed over existing windows. This 24-inch wide by 39-inch high Larson storm window is only $49. Save on window insulation kits from Dennis. They keep warm air in and cold drafts out. This 3-window kit is $7.99. This patio door or extra large window kit is $9.99. Now during Menards Oktoberfest sale.
Save big money at Menards.
this one has amazing gas mileage, but I think this one is more my style. But then again, maybe this one is more my style. What to do, what to do.
Now, you know, at Continental Motors, there's a 3-day exchange policy on all used cars.
Wow, 3 days, really?
Yeah, 124 hours.
No, 3 days is 72 hours.
Well, not if you're using the metric system.
No, still the same.
Even if you carry the...
72 hours.
So then 3 days.
Grab your phone and come check out our unbeatable online selection at ContinentalMotors.com.
In Chicago, some things just go together, like front porches and blue W's, bricks and ivy, Waveland Avenue and souvenirs, Jake and State Farm. Like home and auto insurance with State Farm, they just go together, and they save you time and money. Just another way we're here to help life go right. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
Quickly, the fan vote. We wanted to know who's going to play them in the NLCS. Who do you want to see? What do we have here? We've had 56,000, now 57,000
What if I say, can I say one name?
Fans.
Can I say one name
sure,
that I think will
impacts it?
Daniel Murphy. Does that bother anybody at home?
53% Nationals. That's what we're sticking with. We'll see what happens. Game 1 of the NLCS coming up Saturday. We'll see you back here for that pregame show. Enjoy this one. Thanks for watching Cubs Postseason Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are gonna win again. They got the power.
And it's a 2-run ball game with nobody out in the ninth. The Cubs have tied it here in the ninth. And Chicago has taken a 6-5 lead. And the Chicago Cubs are moving on to the National League Championship Series.
Make sure he's in bed by 8.
Sometimes I get scared.
Scared of what, Danny?
The things I can't see.
Got a weird feeling.
Almost forgot. In case anything happens.
Dad, I got this.
Some things are simply impossible to ignore. The strikingly designed Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid, the SUV that dares to go beyond utility. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Meeting people is my life. I was embarrassed to show my teeth. It was time to do something that was going to be permanent.
The Clear Choice one-day approach is making dental implants a reality for people all over the country who suffer from missing or failing teeth.
We have expertise that you might not find anywhere else, all in one location.
The next day, I had a new smile. Couldn't wait to show some folks.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
I had the best smile I'd ever had in my life.
Call Clear Choice today.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Get up, get up.
What time
is it?
I think I know what it's time for.
If your family is complete, the safest and most effective form of birth control is a vasectomy. Call today for a same-day consultation and procedure in one of our 3 state-of-the-art facilities.
Daddy, how are babies made?
I can tell you how they're not made.
Advanced Urology Associates. Safe, simple, and effective.
At Mike Anderson Chevrolet of Maryville, we make car buying fun.
Want to have some fun today?
Save up to 30% on select 2016 Chevys in stock, like this new Malibu LT. Was $31,034, now only $21,985. Or save up to 27% on select 2016s in stock, like this new Chevy Trax LS. Was $21,710, now just $15,998.
Visit Mike Anderson Chevrolet in Merrillville at I-65 and 61st Avenue.
Mike Anderson Chevrolet.
The Chevy Giants.
See you soon.
Rallying in the 9th inning.
Aroldis Chapman goes from GOAT to hero as the Cubs pull off a 9th inning stunner by the Bay. Hey everyone, I'm Sierra Santos and welcome into Sportsnet Central presented by CLR. We'll have wall-to-wall coverage from San Francisco as the Cubs advance to their 2nd straight National League Championship Series. And it all starts right here on Sportsnet Central right now.
To Sportsnet Central, presented by CLR.
The hunt for October is brought to you by Lexus. Plenty of drama to go along with that dramatic music after a marathon in the Bay Area. Baseball happening in San Fran. Cubs with the chance to avoid Game 5. And Matt Moore on the mound. For the Giants, he was handed a 1-zip lead after 1, but David Ross changed that in the 3rd.
He sends a high fly ball to left. That one well hit. Blanco can't bring it back. David Ross has made it a 1-1 ball game.
His 2nd career postseason homer, and we are all squared up in this one. Bottom 3, Denard Span shoots one up the middle, but Javi Baez dives, spins, makes an incredible play, and Span is called out. But as the replay is going to show, Span beats the throw, but nevertheless, an incredible play by Baez. Even Span has to tip his cap to him for that. 2 batters later, Span taking off for 2nd. David Ross one-hops the throw, Baez with the pick, and the great tag. He's out. Baez just putting on a show. Bottom of the 4th. Trouble brewing for John Lackey. Bases loaded, just 1 out. The pitcher, Matt Moore, is at the plate. And Moore is going to help out his own cause. Singles to right, a run scores. The Giants take a 2-1 lead. Next up is Denard Span. And he's going to ground to 1st. Rizzo goes to 2nd. Back to 1st, and John Lackey overruns the base. Another run comes home. It's 3-1 Giants. It's 3-2 in the bottom of the 5th. Brandon Crawford with a blast to deep right center. But check this out. The ball bounces off the very top of the wall. It stands as a double. 2nd and 3rd, and 1 out. So 2 on for who else? Conor Gillaspie, who already had 2 hits on the night. He makes it 3. Lines went into center. That brings home a run. Another would score on a sac fly. It's 5-2 Giants after 5. Matt Moore making it tough for the Cubs to get anything going offensively. In the 6th, he gets Rizzo swinging on the changeup. Then in the 7th, he gets Jason Hayward to chase on the curve. Theo Epstein can only look from the stands, clearly concerned. Moore still in there on the top of the 8th. David Ross becomes the 9th strikeout victim after chasing the curve. Then it was Dexter Fowler looking on strike 3. 10th strikeout of the night from Matt Moore, and the fans showing him some love. To the 9th, Derek Law in to replace Moore. He gives up a leadoff single to Chris Bryant to start off the inning. Bruce Bochy not messing around. He goes to his pen. Javier Lopez comes in to face Rizzo. He gives Rizzo a free pass, so Bochy out again. Going to his pen, Sergio Romo is the 3rd pitcher of the inning for the Giants, and he serves up a shot to Ben Zobrist down the right field line. Bryant scores. It's a 5-3 game. So Romo is done for the night, which means Will Smith enters the game. Pitcher number 4, He faces pinch hitter Wilson Contreras.
Back up the middle and through. Rizzo scores. Here's Zobrist, and the Cubs have tied it here in the ninth.
Contreras delivers, and we have a brand new game. We're all tied up at 5. Next is Jason Hayward. He drops down a bad bunt. Smith gets the out at second, but Crawford with his second error of the night, and Hayward reached second. Bochy comes out again. Pitcher number 5 in the inning is Hunter Strickland, and Javi Baez delivers with a base hit up the middle. Hayward comes around to score. The Cubs complete the comeback. They take a 6-5 lead. That means it's time for Aroldis Chapman. He gets Gorkis Hernandez swinging on the 102-mile-an-hour heat. Next is Denard Span. He swings through 103, and the Giants season is down to their final out.
And the Chicago Cubs are moving on to the National League Championship Series.
Chapman strikes out the side. The Cubs breathe a sigh of relief as they avoid Game 5 in Chicago. They advance to the NLCS as they win it in Game 4, 6-5. So the Cubs score 4 in the ninth and are on their way to their second straight National League Championship Series. It was the largest ninth inning comeback in a clinching game in Major League history. 6 of their 17 runs in the series came in the ninth inning. For more, let's send it over to our postseason live crew of Luke Stuckmeyer and Todd Hollingsworth.
Thank you. Tremendous theater. Blow it up. Get that out of the way. 3 one-run games in this series, Todd Hollingsworth. Great games. The Cubs players on the mound taking their photo after winning this series, chanting, "We don't quit, we don't quit." How about that ninth inning and the young guys getting the job done, taking the ball back through the middle?
And how appropriate, right? You mentioned it right there. Great approach right there. They seem to kind of gather themselves there in the ninth inning. We talked about some big swings and expanding the strike zone going back to yesterday's game. You saw it in this one as well. Matt Moore had them off their game. But that ninth inning, you look at the approach, use the middle of the field. This is what you want to do at this ballpark to win. I give them so much credit. Look, Bruce Bochy was trying to shake them all up. He knew that his bullpen had issues. But again, look, see, lefty at bat there. So we're going to go get Lopez. I'm going to bring Sergio Romo in to go up against Ben Zobrist. There's the base hit there. He worked for that, too, by the way. Got that ball up out over the plate, and that's what he wanted to do. He tried to get him to swing down in the zone and get a double play ball. But the at-bats were just quality. See, Bruce Bochy was even trying to, believe me, he wasn't allowing anybody to fall on a pattern. That's your closer right there. He faced one hitter. Got him out of there. Go get me some Will Smith. Bring Contreras up there. He swings through a curveball, then he shortens up the swing, stays through the swing, drives one back through the middle, and then you're going to have the Javi Baez moment coming up here, which is the big one. Come on, let's get there.
And he's going to go right back up the middle, just like Brian did.
Well, we're going to show the bunt first. Because, well, interestingly enough, we got to mention this too, right? Because the throw.
Yeah.
I mean, this is their Gold Glove shortstop who made an errant throw right there. Now we get a runner in scoring position in a 5-5 ball game. But as I said to you at the time, okay, so they're going to bring in velocity and Strickland. But guess what? We've got Javi Baez. This is a 0-2 pitch right there. Tried to bust him with a fastball. Didn't work. And Hayward scores your game-winning run. I mean, it was just, you just had this sense that using the middle of the field in that inning, everybody was feeding off each other. Show me the way is what I felt like you saw at the beginning of this, starting with Chris Bryant. Anthony Rizzo talked about it. When our guy, led the way there, a number 2 hitter, everybody kind of fell in. And you saw base hit after base hit right back through the middle, and it certainly led and obviously added up to a win.
8th time this year the Cubs have battled back to win a game in the 9th inning or later. We thought going into the series bullpens might be a big factor. It was. The Giants bullpen wasn't very good. The Cubs bullpen came in, got the job done.
It's called holding the deficit, and it's really what it comes down to. They've done that many times this year. I mean, again, you don't always find yourself talking about it when the lead is not yours. But in this ball game, what was so important that the Cubs gave themselves a chance to win a ball game in the 9th? You had to get there. So look, we're naturally trained to throw, to show you 102 miles an hour. We all love it. We like to see 102, 105 from Aroldis Chapman. But the reality is that you got to remember how you got there in the first place. And when this game started to get out of hand mid-innings, when the Cubs were trailing 5-2, you had to hold that deficit. And it was important to give yourself an opportunity to win a baseball game. They've done this many times this year, and they did it again today. A 3-run deficit, even with 3 outs to go, is not, you can overcome that when you string a few hits together, and you saw him do it in the 9th inning. But again, credit where credit is due. You've got to be able to get to that. It isn't just Chapman. It's going to be Rondon. It's going to be Wood. I mean, Grimm, he made a bad pitch there with the hanging curveball to Crawford. But still, I mean, the idea is doing what you do in those situations. I felt like it was a huge advantage, our bullpen versus theirs. And the way you watch this one play out, it clearly was.
NLCS, second straight year for the Cubs. They're going back. Game 1 will be on Saturday at Wrigley Field. Let's go back over to Sierra.
All right, thanks, guys. The Cubs managed just 2 hits and 2 runs through the first 8 innings of Game 4. But in the 9th, the Bats came alive, going 4 for 5, including 3 for 3 with runners in scoring position, scoring 4 runs, to get the job done.
Proud of our guys. Everybody was all hands on deck there at the end. 2 big hits. Contreras and Baez. Their combined age, I don't think it's 45. Pretty good stuff.
I think in the 7th inning, Wilson was like, "Hey, let's go. We gotta get some runs." And Rossi came in and he was like, "Hey, relax. We're trying, and the game is not over." And we finally came back in the night and got their bullpen to play.
To me, I was a little mad because I want to win. I'm serious. I want to win, but I was trying to wake up the team, wake up everybody. And when the 9th inning started with a base hit, and then Bristol get a walk, and then Sobris get a double, we fired up everybody. Then when I came into here, I tell myself, calm down and just enjoy the bat. Don't try to do much. That's what I did.
The momentum was kind of on their side the whole game. They did a heck of a job. Their guys were swinging it well. Their pitchers were doing everything. But that last inning, it's just going back to last year. That's just kind of what we do. I mean, it's nice, knowing that there's 27 outs in a game, and you got to get them all. And tonight, we were on the winning side of it.
Well, we have nothing to lose. That's how we look at it. We never quit. And we had the MVP of the league leading us off. He gets on, and we know when the leadoff guy gets on, we can do some damage in any inning. And the 9th inning's no different.
Credit to these guys. Just kept fighting, kept battling. That's a good team over there. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm exhausted. The emotions are running crazy. What a great group of guys, and we're excited to be moving on.
Well, Javi Baez turned in one spectacular play after another, but his biggest moment came in the 9th inning of Game 4. Coming up, our Kelly Crow has a full report from San Francisco. And with the end of last season still fresh in their minds, the Blackhawks prepare for their season opener against their arch rivals.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
Do you have too many bills but not enough money? Would you like one lower payment for all debt, little or no money down? I'm attorney Peter Francis Geraci. Our Chapter 13 plans stop collections and creditors in one day for as low as $95 every 2 weeks. Get rid of bill collectors and high car payments. Get one lower payment today. Call or click now.
When you need to be debt-free, call 1-800-CALL-PFG. That's 1-800-CALL-PFG.
Is your lunch break a race against the clock? You run here, you run there, until everything comes to a screeching halt. Now is the time for a 5-hour energy protein shot. 21 grams of protein and 100 little calories. It's not lunch. It's energy and protein. And a lot faster than fast food. 5-hour energy protein shots. Energy, protein, 100 calories. Available at these fine stores.
We all know that Jake's our ace, but in April, he was much more than that. He was unhittable.
Swing and a miss. 3 outs away.
And our offense was unstoppable.
Grand slam time. 13-0.
But on that night, it was all about Arrieta.
It's a no-hitter. Jake Arrieta has done it again. Wow. That was fun. Back up the middle and through. Rizzo scores. Here's Zobrist, and the Cubs have tied it here in the ninth. Go-ahead run at bay. Baez singles back up the middle. Hayward's being waved around, and Chicago has taken a 6-5 lead.
A 4-run rally in the ninth seals a Game 4 victory for the Cubs, and the celebration is on in the Bay Area. For more on the stunning win, Kelly Kroll has your press pass from San Francisco.
What a turn of events. Maddon's club found themselves down 3 and 3 outs away from returning to Wrigley for a win or go home Game 5. But their MO, their chant, in fact, all season long, has been, "We never quit, we never quit." And they proved that by coming back and scoring 4 runs in the final frame to beat the Giants on what was supposed to be their even year. And now the Cubs are believing it's their turn.
It's unbelievable. I'm still trying to process what happened there in the ninth. That was what a fun win. I've seen some things in the playoffs, and that was unbelievable, especially to be a part of. Damn, the boys came with it at the end.
It's just in our identity. That's who we are. We want to win every game we play. We don't care if it's on the road or at home. So, I mean, it's just who we are, honestly.
We didn't give up. Their pitcher, he threw out that great game. He was hitting his spot. He was getting to us, and he threw 8 innings. You know, obviously, we just make their blueprint pay.
There's 27 outs, and you don't give any of them up, and you keep playing for all 27. And after the game, even on the mound, they're taking the photographs. The guys are chanting, "We don't quit, we don't quit, we don't quit." I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, you hear that all the time, and I know everybody says it, but you have to actually live it. And I have to tell you, I mean, I've seen it so many times from this group, and that's a big part of our philosophy. And I like to keep things simple, and that's simple. And I don't want to get complicated. We've just played 27 outs.
It was like, rough 8 innings. We didn't get much going offensively, but I mean, the ninth inning was a lot about character. These guys never give up, and that was as exciting a ninth inning as I've ever been a part of.
We felt like there was some signs that we were gonna that something was gonna shake. So they kept bringing in pitcher after pitcher, and they kind of took off the rhythm.
Yeah, you do. With the way the ball bounced that last inning, I hate to use the word destiny, but they've had a great year, and that's quite a comeback they mounted there.
Oh my God, this is so amazing for us. We never give up. We just try to do the little things to win, and coming to the ninth inning, down by 3. I mean, most of the team just give up and play the Thursday, but we never give up. We just play a 27 out as we always did.
We knew it. We knew it coming in that all the odds are against us. I feel like with them, with the even year, with the best pitcher on the planet in the postseason pitching. So it's just one of those things where you got to keep grinding and find ways to win, and we did that for 3 games. We knew it was going to be a tough series. Guys like that, the Giants, they've been here and done it many years, especially recently. A real veteran team knows how to win. So we knew they were never going to give up, especially coming into their park like this. So they played some good baseball, but fortunately we were just able to get it done right there at the end.
So the Northsiders move on to the NLCS for the second time in as many years. But after being swept by the Mets last October, this team feels like they have some unfinished business. And this time around, they feel like they're built to seal the deal. Covering the Cubs here at AT&T Park in San Francisco, I'm Kelly Kroll, wrapping things up for the NLDS.
Thanks, Kelly. And what's a season opener without high drama? The Blues knocked the Blackhawks out of the first round of the playoffs last season. While one goal is the Hawks' mantra, it was one goal that was the difference in 6 of those 7 contests. So after a long off season, Coach Q and his team will finally get their opportunity to exact revenge. A division rivalry the guys are eager to renew.
It's a good reminder for us to kind of not forget what we went through and how we went down in Game 7. They'll be hungry too. Obviously, both teams want to prove themselves again. It's another year. Obviously, a long way to go before we get back to playoff hockey again. But you know, these games are nonetheless they're always going to be important.
It's a great way to start off. You know, you want to, I guess, kind of get that taste out of your mouth from last year in the playoffs, and you play that team right away. So good way to start off. I think everyone gets excited when it's, you know, a new season. Everyone starts on the same level, zeros across the board, and you know, we want to make sure we get off to a good start, get ourselves ahead of the pack a little bit, you know, make sure we make the playoffs this year.
Tonight at 6:30, the Blackhawks walk the red carpet to kick off this season. Pat Boyle and Steve Conroy will host the annual event from the United Center. Jamal Mayers is on the red carpet interviewing past and present players. And you can only see it here on Comcast Sportsnet. After working some 9th inning magic, the celebration was on for the Northsiders. Coming up, we'll get more reaction from San Francisco and have highlights from the other division series as the Cubs await their next opponent.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
Attention blood thinner users. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-496-9019. Again, that's 1-800-496-9019.
You may not be a prepper now, but you will be. Whether the next disaster is man-made or wrought by Mother Nature, you need a plan. WiseFoodStorage.com's emergency gourmet meals are made in the USA, delicious, easy to prepare, just add water, and packaged and proportioned perfectly, eliminating waste and creating a shelf life of up to 25 years.
Get your free sample now. Call in the next 15 minutes and get your free survival guide. Call 800-793-8309.
Friday on CSN Plus, the defending champs hit town for a preseason matchup with your Bulls. And stream the game live at csnchicago.com or on the NBC Sports app. Bulls versus Cavaliers, live at 7 on CSN Plus.
Tomorrow night on CSN, the men in red are back in Bridgeview for an Eastern Conference clash with Columbus. Cheer them on from your couch as they try to crush the Crew. Fire versus Crew, live at 7 p.m. on CSN. The Hard Count, featuring Brian Urlacher, presented by Restore. Tomorrow at 10:30 on CSN.
The Cubs awaiting the winner of this series, Nationals and Dodgers. Game 4, we pick things up in the 7th. Dodgers up 5-2. Clayton Kershaw walks Bryce Harper to load the bases with 2 outs. Dave Roberts decides to take his ace out, ending Kershaw's game after 6 2/3 innings. Pedro Baez comes in. He hits Jason Worth, forcing in a run. It's 5-3. Then it's Luis Avilan's turn, and Daniel Murphy comes through with a single to left. Trey Turner scores. So does Bryce Harper. The Nationals tie the game at 5. Kershaw can't even watch. We move to the 8th. 2 on, 2 out for Chase Utley. And he delivers with a single to right. Andrew Toll scores from second. And the Dodgers hang on to beat the Nationals 6-5 to force a Game 5. So the Cubs will have to wait until Thursday before they find out their next opponent. But that didn't stop the champagne from flowing in Frisco on Tuesday night. The Cubs stunning the Giants with 4 runs in the 9th, and the party was on.
We just know that we're not having until we're out of it. You don't know how the season's going to play out.
we all know that if you're given the expectation to win the World Series in spring training, you don't know what's going to happen. A lot of these guys, everybody's been on the team that hasn't made the postseason. Everybody's been on the team. This is my first season. This is my first time going past the first round for me. So whatever expectations are going in, we just know that a lot of things can happen, but we got to stay positive. We got to keep fighting. We got to keep having fun, and we feel like if we do that, then we can do a lot of things, and we can do a lot of good things like the thing we're trying to do is win 8 more wins.
I feel like if it did go back to Chicago, I mean, we were ready to play. I mean, we love playing in front of our fans, but it's nice to get it done here and kind of regroup and find out who we're playing next.
We're going in there. We're going to have a fresh pitching staff. We got home field advantage. We got Wrigley Field. We have the Chicago fans. There's so many different things. There's a Game 5 going on, so we're going to enjoy this tonight. We're going to really have a good time, and we're excited to get back to Wrigley and play whenever, Friday or Saturday.
Whoever we play, Dodgers, Nationals, we know that's going to be a really tough series. But I don't know if it gets any better than the series where, we just won against the Giants. Those guys are about as good as they get in the postseason, and to beat them gives us a lot of confidence moving forward.
It doesn't matter, because when you start worrying about who you're going to play, it could bite you, because it really shouldn't matter. We played both groups all this year. We played decently against both. It's a different time of the year, so. Again, I really don't. I'm just happy to be in the dance.
From day one, as a team, we've been talking about winning the World Series, and that's what we're here for. And personally, I'm just glad I'm going to get another shot and go get after it.
The plays of the day are presented by Lexus. Number 3 comes from the 3rd inning in San Francisco. David Ross throws out Denard Span trying to steal second base, but it's the tag by Javier Baez that makes this one special. Baez stealing the show in this series. Number 2, how about the 9th inning? You knew it was coming. Chris Bryant singles, Anthony Rizzo walks, Ben Zobrist doubles, Wilson Contreras drives in 2 to tie it, and then Baez singles in the go-ahead run as the Cubs score 4 runs in the 9th to take a 6-5 lead. Number 1, bottom of the 9th, Aroldis Chapman strikes out Brandon Belt on a 102-mile-an-hour fastball to end the game. The Cubs take the series 3-1, advance to the NLCS for the 2nd straight season with a 6-5 win over the Giants. Thanks for watching Sportsnet Central, presented by CLR. As we say goodbye, here's a look back at some of the best moments of the Cubs and Giants.
It's a 2-run ball game with nobody out in the 9th. The Cubs have tied it here in the 9th. And Chicago has taken a 6-5 lead. And the Chicago Cubs are moving on to the National League Championship Series.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
Do you have too many bills but not enough money? Would you like one lower payment for all debt, little or no money down? I'm attorney Peter Francis Geraci. Our Chapter 13 plans stop collections and creditors in one day for as low as $95 every 2 weeks. Get rid of bill collectors and high car payments. Get Get one lower payment today. Call or click now.
When you need to be debt-free, call 1-800-CALL-PFG. That's 1-800-CALL-PFG.
We asked people to write down the things they love to do most on these balloons.
Travel with my daughter.
Roller derby?
Roller derby. Now, give up half of them.
Do I have to?
This is the tough financial choice we could face when we retire. But if we start saving even just 1% more of our annual income,